Right, so good morning and welcome. Today's presentation is going to be exploring three things really. The first is the new vision and ethos of the school. The second obviously is about the identity of the school. And the third really is for all the young boys and girls sitting at home with their mums and dads to explain the kind of learning experience that you can expect when you come to the SIL school next year. And there's a lot to discuss actually and lots of exciting things to share with you. The first thing I want to talk about is just housekeeping rules. As I said, to ensure the quality of this presentation is the best it can be, I've just asked all participants to place their microphone on mute, turn off your cameras. This session will be recorded. But also to let you know that if you want to ask questions, you may do so actually through the presentation by clicking on the chat box on the icon bar when you hover your cursor over the screen. You can then type in the question that you wish. We're accompanied today by two colleagues, my deputy head teacher, Ms. Hine, and my assistant head teacher, Mr. Miller. At the end of the presentation, when we get to questions and answers, I'll end the recording where you can then choose the raise hand icon. And if you wish to ask your question in person, you may then do so. We'll unmute you. And again, my colleagues who are around will help us moderate and ensure that that flows smoothly. I hope those three basic kind of requests have been clear and clarified, and we'll get straight into the presentation. So thank you for your time. The SIL School. I joined the SIL School, to give you some context, in April this year. And since joining, I've made some kind of what I call systematic changes, but important ones, because I want to reframe the SIL School in the eyes of the local community, but also change the direction of travel. So the ethos and values, which will come through later on this presentation, I hope will explain how I'm trying to work with my team and my staff to create that excellent and outstanding learning environment through those values. The key thing I want you to keep in mind throughout this presentation is that it's about leadership, and that's the number one thing driving this SIL School forward for our students. When you join us, it's about getting you to understand what leadership is and giving you the opportunities to lead by example in both your learning and also your conduct in and out of school. The SIL School, under my vision, is about being a gateway to the community and beyond. But what do we mean by the word community, and what do we mean by the term beyond? That's what we're going to explore in the next 5 or 6 slides to give you an understanding of what those terms mean in reality to your learning experience at the SIL School. That's really important. You get concrete evidence of that. The first thing I want you to think about is the community exists around us, and that the SIL School is not isolated from that. And the reason why I want to bring in the University of Westminster, it's one of the examples of the partnerships that I've already formed that will influence and enhance your learning experience at the SIL School. Because when you join us in Year 7, that's the beginning of your secondary experience, but there's also thoughts about where you go for sixth form. The University of Westminster and the University of Cambridge, which I'm connected to as an alumni, will be forming part of those experiences that you have through university visits, having opportunities to meet lecturers and professors to talk about their courses, to help shape your understanding of the things that you might want to pursue later on. It's really important that we recognise that you're at a stage where you're stepping into adulthood, and that your experience at secondary school is about helping you understand the world of adulthood and how you're growing into that. And that also matters in terms of the experience you have within the SIL School with other students of the same age. And I've formed partnerships with 4 other schools, 2 independent ones and 2 secondary maintained schools in our area. They offer us opportunities to develop our practice from a staff perspective, but also from a student perspective for those young boys and girls who are going to come and join us in September 21. The opportunities to engage in activities that we may not have at our local schools, particularly through the PERS as one example, which I'll explore in depth with you. We have connections with the PERS school that started this year, looking at forming closer links with several subject areas. Maths being one of them, PE and music being the other. And when we talk about PE as an example of how this partnership can enhance your PE experience at the SIL School, the best way to simply say it is that we share that knowledge and teaching experience with the staff that exist at the PERS, such as their PE staff, which are Olympic athletes, with our staff. And again, the focus of this partnership is about developing leadership in sports. And the idea is when we're in a situation when we can have school visits and have external people come onto school site, these staff members will join us in at the SEAL school in your PE lessons and do workshops and focus on particular sporting skills and activities that you love. And vice versa as well. Our staff will go over there and work with their students. And ultimately, the long-term plan is for opportunities for you to meet other students of similar age in different settings and form that kind of greater, broader, richer learning experience. That's what we mean by being a gateway to the community. And certainly with the conversation about university, that's what we mean by going beyond your current world as we speak now, but the future that lies ahead and capturing it in a meaningful way. The SEAL school, I need to explain very clearly, is not a small school, and I since I've taken over in April, I tended to hear that word being used as a way to describe the SEAL school, and I have to challenge that. We're not a small school at all, just like as our wonderful nation is not a small nation on the global stage. The physical space may seem small, but the possibilities and the outcomes that you will gain by coming to the SEAL school and the educational experience that you have will be world class. It will stand large on the global stage, but more importantly, nationally speaking, my ambitions for the SEAL school is to go above and beyond. And I'm going to give you some examples of why the SEAL school was never small to begin with, looking at its outcomes. We have set up an alumni page on the website, which I truly recommend and highly recommend, I should say, to parents to go on and have a look and read the stories of all the SEAL students, past and present, who've moved on and what they've achieved in their life since receiving a SEAL education. Not too long ago, we've had 2 students go to Oxbridge institutions. Again, that's common, that happens at the SEAL school. And I need to really stress that when you join us, the education experience you get will be as good as any other school, if not, in my eyes, better. But I want to talk to you about Claire's story. She's the girl that started the SEAL school in 2003 and left in 2010 after finishing 6th form at the SEAL school. So she spent her entire educational experience at the SEAL school. And this young lady had passions and dreams to be a professional actress, as well as travel and see the world. Those dreams became a reality for Claire, because she now has job opportunities and is a professional actress working in Broadway, West End. She's traveled around the world. She's been to Brazil. She's been to see the Northern Lights. She's been all over the world. So that passion, that desire that she had as a little girl became her reality, her lived experience as now an adult. That's what education is about. That's what SEAL delivers. It's not just about passing your exams at the age of 16 or the age of 18. It's about enriching your life and giving you the capacity to choose what you want to do and be the person you want to be as an adult. Education is about empowerment. The SEAL school will empower you. But I'll give you other examples as well, because I know that in this presentation right now, all those young boys and girls that are sitting in with their mum and dad listening have different aspirations and ambitions. And I want you to know that the SEAL school can meet all of them. Let's look at Emma Liu. She's a doctor now. She completed a PhD and she now works at the University College of London as a lecturer in earth sciences. What does that mean to be a lecturer, and what does that mean to pass a PhD? Well, in short, it simply means that Emma now is creating new knowledge that's going to be taught in schools in the years to come. She isn't just learning about things, she's now discovering things. She's an academic through and through, and she captures and reflects one of our values that we talk about later on, which is scholarship. She has completed a successful journey through the SEAL school at secondary and at 6th form, and is now teaching at tertiary level. That's really what it's about for those who have a passion for academics and has a passion to discover new things. You can do that at the SEAL school. The other story is about Zoe. What about those boys and girls sitting right now at the presentation who think, actually, I don't really want to go to university. That's not my passion. That's not my desire. That's fine as well at the SEAL school, because you might want to go through an apprenticeship. You might want to learn and study and have a job at the same time and be paid for it. Zoe left recently. She has a wonderful story to share with you, because she's now got a full-time job as an economist at the Ministry of Justice. She did an apprenticeship called the Economic Service degree, and she's now being paid by the government to complete her Bachelor of Science in Economics. And Zoe is another classic example of a very different type of person, but again, achieving great things in life, just like Emma had, and just like the other alumni had in the slide previous. But what if you don't know what you want to do? What if you don't know if you want to go to university or do an apprenticeship? That's okay as well. At the SEAL School, we give you an education that empowers you, that allows you to always make the right choice, and allows you to always have the outcomes that you want. Alex is another classic example, again on the alumni page. She left school and she wasn't quite sure what she wanted to do. She didn't want to go to university. So she said, you know what? I want to work. I want to get a job. And that's exactly what she did. And that led her to end up working for a global accountancy firm known as PricewaterhouseCoopers. But that's not where it ended. Her story carries on because now she works for, as an executive assistant, she works for Freshfields, Bruckers and Deringer, a global law firm. She's traveled around the world, as you can see in this amazing picture, living a very fulfilled, happy, rich life. That's what it's about. When you come to the SEAL School, it's about who you're going to be. We recognize who you are today, and we're going to push you to be better. That is what an effective education is about. When you're an adult, you're going to live the life you want to live because you're going to have the skills and knowledge to do so. Small schools don't give or produce larger than life outcomes or experiences. And for the parents and the students who think, you know what, I want to know what goes beyond the classroom, I can tell you what SEAL School can provide you. Opportunities to see the world. Like I said, we're a gateway to the community and beyond. We go beyond the four walls that you currently exist in now. We have to, because we live on a global stage. You will be global citizens. And what does that mean then? Well, for example, the SEAL School for the past few years have been going to Japan as part of a science trip. 1 out of 5 schools have been selected to do this. And we want to carry on doing this. And these opportunities, such as the Tokyo trip, is about those who have a passion for science, a passion for engineering. You come to the SEAL School, you have that passion, we'll give you the opportunity to explore that passion beyond the classroom, in a different context, in a different culture, that will enrich your learning experience. But it's not just about cultural exchanges to Japan for scientific research. We do other things. We go to Rome. There's plans to go and look at some of the most amazing artwork out there if you have a passion for drawing, a passion for sculpturing, a passion for working with your hands. There's opportunities to go to the Swiss Alps if you have a passion for the environment. The SEAL School is about offering you chances, and it's about giving you the lessons and the confidence to take on those chances and succeed in them. We offer you experiences that go beyond the norm. That's why you come to the SEAL School. At sixth form, right now, my head of sixth form has been challenged to create opportunities that go beyond the four walls, such as a biannual trip to New York, kind of punctuated with other trips to other great cities in the world, so that the sixth formers get that experience. And I want to talk about curriculum as well later on, and where careers fits into that, because she's also been tasked to provide a robust career experience for our sixth formers, because they're on the precipice of moving into adulthood and moving into university and beyond, and they need to know where they want to go and what they want to do. Education isn't just about what you learn in the classroom and passing tests. It's about understanding the paths you can take to achieve the goals you have. We're not a small school, because if we were, we couldn't achieve that. We're a great school with great ambitions for you. I call this knowledge beyond knowledge, this extracurricular activity, this opportunity to enhance your learning and supplement it through the partnerships I formed with universities around me, with local schools and beyond. That's what it's about. And it's about technology and education. Often it's just bolt on an experience you have in school without thought about how it fits into the curriculum. Not at SEAL. At SEAL, in the next 12 months, I'm working with a company based in Finland with looking at how we can bring virtual reality into the classroom in a meaningful way. And geography is the subject area that I'm first looking at as a pilot. So the head of geography is working with me, looking at how do we bring in virtual reality as a means to give you an immersive learning experience. And that matters, because if you're studying geography, it's about geopolitics. It's about the world around us. And if you're talking about a city in Peru or a country, then we need to be able to place you in that space. Use technology in a way that can take the world or bring the world to you in your classroom. Why not? That's what it's about, so you can understand it. And if we talk about floodplains and erosion, use virtual reality to actually demonstrate that in a meaningful, immersive way so you can understand it. The concepts, which are complex, you can understand it in a way that you can then synthesize and explain it in your own words, because that's what learning is about, taking on information and turning it into knowledge. Those experiences going abroad enhance that opportunity. You will be part of this ambition that we've put forward for you. You'll be beneficiaries of it. For me, education is about transformation. It's about making sure that we drive up academic standards. And yes, the SEAL school has to drive up academic standards, but we are not the only school that needs to do this. Every school in the nation needs to continuously drive up academic standards. And the reason being is that every child deserves the best education. The SEAL school isn't just about passing tests. It's about making you a whole person, transforming you and pushing you to be better than you are today, so that you can give back to your community in a meaningful way, so that you can lead your life the way you want to live, so that you can be outstanding citizens in the country and contribute to society, so you can build knowledge, create and invent new things, open up new businesses, create new jobs that have not yet to exist. You're going to be drivers in that. The SEAL school education gives you that ability. We have to think far into the future because you are our future. And the education has to equip you for an unknown and give you the skills to take that uncertainty and make it certain. You need to control your life. And as I said, education is about empowerment. We will educate you and teach you how to achieve those things. I'm going to take a common kind of thought in Formula One, which they often say that if you're standing still, you're going backwards. And that matters at the SEAL school because my staff and my students don't stand still. The whole point of coming to the SEAL school is because you want to move forward, because you want to transform, because you want to be better than you are. Every day you come in, every day my teachers teach, they're always asked to reflect and push forward on new ideas. Those partnerships that I talked about earlier in the presentation helps us achieve that drive, helps us achieve that movement. Because it's about sharing good practice. It's about learning from everyone. It's about taking in the latest knowledge and thinking about how that fits into the learning experience that every child has at the SEAL school. When you come to the SEAL school next year in September 2021, you're going to experience things that no other school is going to be able to offer you because we're looking at cutting edge technology. We're looking at latest pedagogy. We're looking at latest information, and we're going to filter that down to your classroom. We're always going to do that. I'm going to come to leadership pretty shortly to explain and demonstrate how your role will facilitate this movement, this going forward, this continual drive for better. And this sits in with our ethos, the culture of the school, the person I want you to be. I want you to lead. I want you to come in from day one in year 7 to lead by example. I want you to lead in the classroom. I want you to lead in your learning environment in the classroom, take responsibilities for your actions. I want you to be ready. I want you to be able to lead the choices you make. It is the school's responsibility to give you those opportunities. I want it to make your responsibility to take them, to give you the confidence and the resilience to do so. And we achieve this because we uphold the following values that I'm going to share with you. We're going to help you develop that confidence. We're going to help you develop that resilience. We're going to do so through the following things, such as information and knowledge. This is the fundamental purpose of any educational system, any school, anywhere in the world, is to provide information and knowledge. When you come to the SEAL school, you're going to be stimulated and you're going to be flooded with the opportunities to take on a range of different forms of information. The knowledge is the learning. It is the teaching. It is the discussion. It is what you're going to retain to help you process that information in a meaningful way to help you make the right decisions or arrive at the right conclusions. And you can demonstrate that when you write essays or answer questions on a test paper or a quiz. You can demonstrate that when you go home and you talk to your parents about the latest things that you've learned and what that means to you. Information and knowledge is the bread and butter of every school. It's our value because it underpins us in what we do in the classroom. But scholarship is who you are. You are a scholar when you come to the SEAL school. What does that mean? Well, it means that you're going to be given the opportunity to ask questions. We want you to be curious. We want you to know more. We want you to love learning. We want you to come into school wondering. We want you to have dreams and passions and link them to what you do in the classroom. The teachers will be there to give you opportunities to ask those questions, and they'll do the same. They'll ask you for your thoughts and your views because it's your voice. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your views. That's what matters. That's what learning's about. That's how we know we've changed and we've grown. And we're going to push you to work hard. because it is tough at SIL school, tough in learning in terms of the intellectual challenge we're going to give you. And you're going to be made strong by that experience. And that's why we begin challenge. Because the truth is this, if you come to my school and you know all the answers, then my teachers are not teaching you at all. You need to come in discovering that actually that's something you cannot do or something you do not know. And we're going to say to you, that's okay, because that's learning. It's the opportunity to engage in this challenge, for you to recognize that you can do it, to be resilient. When things don't work the first time, don't give up. Give it a go again and again and again. And one day you're going to wake up and realize, I can do it. It's like learning to ride a bike. How many times did you fall until that one day you realized, Mom, Dad, I'm riding without you holding onto the back. And how amazing was that feeling? That's what it's about. That's where your confidence grows. That's where you get motivated to do more. It is the job of every teacher in a SEAL school to create lessons that challenge you, make you think about it, make you work hard to achieve the answer. That's what I mean by being tough. And that feeds into your ambition. You come to the SEAL school, I want you to dream big. I want you to want big things. I want you to achieve great things. And you can only achieve it if you really have it set in your mind. I want you to look into that horizon and I want you to want to get there. And I'll give you a concrete example of what I mean by this. There's a group of Year 7 students that completed some work at form time for me to read about the values that they interpreted that I'm sharing with you now. And they talked about their ambitions. They talked about wanting to be doctors. They talked about wanting to be astronauts. They talked about wanting to work in global banks. They talked about wanting to be professional footballers. It's a whole gamut of things. And all of them reflected ambition. And that's great. Because when you come to the SEAL school, we're going to give you the skills and the knowledge to achieve them. Because that's what's going to make them happy. That's what's going to make you happy. And of course, it matters to us. Leadership. What's your role in that? It's everything. It's about being responsible for your actions. It's about taking a positive step forward and being proactive. It's about leading by example. It's about when we give you work, you go home and you get onto it. You get on with it. You do the homework. And if you don't know it, that's fine, because we're challenging you. And you bring that back to school and you ask your teacher, Sir, Miss, I couldn't do question C. I couldn't answer the last question. I couldn't even start it. And they'll say, that's fine. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's understand it. And you're going to go home thinking, I get it now. I know what I need to do. And then you can lead, because someone else younger than you might have the same problems. Or someone in your class might still have the same barrier to learning, and you can show them the way. That's leadership. It's doing the right things. We all know what the right things are, but sometimes it takes courage to do it. You'll get that courage at the SEAL school. Courage comes from understanding people's emotions, and that's why empathy matters so much. In the workplace, we describe it as soft skills. Now, I think many schools miss out on this because they don't understand the value of soft skills and how important it is to weave that into the learning experience when you're studying maths, or you're studying science, whether it be biology or chemistry, or you're studying music or drama. All those subjects gives you opportunities to develop your emotional intelligence, because it asks you to listen to the views of others. It asks you to consider their position. You may not agree with it, but it gives you the skills and knowledge to understand it from their point of view, which will broaden your understanding of the world. And when you become an adult and you leave the SEAL school, you enter the workplace, you're going to have the confidence and the experience to know how to navigate through the working experience with all the different people you're going to meet. And you're going to get them on side. That's what leadership's about, getting them to understand you as much as you understanding them. You will get these opportunities at the SEAL school because it's integral and part of our curriculum development. It's really important that I explain to you what we're not, because I think there's some misconceptions about the SEAL school, and these are just a few. First is that we're not a specialist SEN school. We don't specialize in SEN at all. Our SEN provision is the same as any other local school. We don't have small classes. Our class size is on average 27 to 28, and the very popular subjects that you've chosen as an option in GCSE can be as large as 30 or 31. We offer the same subjects at GCSE and at Key Stage 3 and at Key Stage 5 as any other local school. When you come to the SEAL school in Year 7, You'll study a language, you'll study a humanities subject, you'll study the performing arts, and you'll study the cause as well. That's the national curriculum. And we go beyond that. We go beyond that through our knowledge beyond knowledge focus as well. We supplement it with our partnerships that we've formed with the schools around us and the universities. But more importantly, it's with our employers and the companies as well. And this is where I want to talk about career. It's not a 1 week working experience that you'll get when you come to the SEAL school in year 10. No, it's so much more than that. It starts in year 7 and ends in year 13. That career curriculum is embedded. And our focus is get employers and companies to come in and talk to you, give you an understanding of where you can take the learning that you have at the SEAL school, where that can take you into the workplace. If you want to know what a lawyer does, you'll get to meet a lawyer, ask him the questions. If you want to meet a judge, you'll get that chance. If you want to meet a police officer, because that's what you care about, you'll get that chance. You want to work in engineering, we'll get you out there. Biotech, we've got links. That's what it's about. It's about building in a much deeper, richer learning experience. It's not just about what you do to pass tests. That's two-dimensional. That's flat. For me, the curriculum is about where we take that learning and how that drives you forward in the world that exists around us. It's not isolated. It's interwoven. I'm going to end pretty shortly before we move to questions and answers, which I'll then have to pause the recording. But I'm going to leave you with this thought. Why choose to come to the SEAL school? Why? Because when you come, you'll leave being ready to take on the world. During your time at the SEAL school, you're going to discover what you're made of. You're going to discover what you can do. You're going to exceed your potential because we're going to push you to do so. Because every day you're going to be challenged to be the best you can be. Why does that matter? It matters because when you become a young adult, the very best version of yourself should be the one that steps out of those gates at the SEAL school on that last day into that big wide world with you being confident with your head held high, knowing that you can do whatever you wish to do. You come to this SEAL school to learn, to lead, and to become. That's why you choose us. We're your local school. We are the right school for you. We're now going to move to questions and answers. I would like to thank you all for spending 15-20 minutes listening to this presentation.